everybody, welcome back to my channel. Long time no speak, see? It's been a hot minute. Last night I filmed my first video in 4 months, which was a cash stuffing video, which you will see after this one, and another video that I will be recording and posting. So I did that because, one, I wanted to square away the money that I had, but I also needed to get back into the groove. And the video, I ramble so much. It's going to be over 20 minutes minimum, but I'll try and keep this one a little bit shorter and sweeter. So basically, what happened over these last 4 months that I disappeared? So my last video that I uploaded was the end of February. Beginning of March, I started having a flare-up with a hernia that I developed when I was pregnant with my first son, who will be 8 soon. And it was made worse when I was pregnant with my second son. And anyway, I had a flare-up, and essentially what happened was, I believe a portion of it became protruded through the gap in the muscle. And I was in absolute agony. It was awful for a good week, because I avoid going to hospitals. Being a plus size person, my treatment is often below par. And I didn't feel like advocating. I didn't feel like fighting when I was in so much pain. So I avoided going to the hospital, because usually after a couple of days of being in pain, it settles down. But it wasn't this time. And while that was happening, another condition that I wasn't diagnosed with at the time, because I didn't know it was a condition, but something that I had suffered with since I was 12, flared up at the same time, and it created an abscess that was in my underarm, and it just all came to a head. So I ended up in hospital, and it's a long story what happened in hospital. I had to advocate and fight for fair and adequate medical treatment against a surgeon who had no legitimate reasons to not operate on my hernia, other than he didn't want to, or he was discriminating against my weight. However, my weight wasn't posing any issues, because once I questioned it a lot, I ended up having the surgery. And it was really, it affected me mentally, having to advocate so hard for just basic healthcare that I deserved and would have got with no arguments had I weighed less. It was really hard to do that when I was in so much pain and I was scared, and it's exhausting, and constantly being told, you weigh this, like I'm not living every day in my body, or haven't for 33 years. Anyway, it's a long story. Complaints were lodged, and I hope that it at least makes this surgeon conduct himself differently. I was bullied. I got yelled at. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it too much. That's as much as I'm going to say. So I had my surgery on my arm. They had to operate on my underarm to get the abscess out. And then 3 or 4 days later, I had a separate surgery. It should have been done all at once, but like I said, there was drama. I had my second surgery to remove my hernia. It was an umbilical hernia, or it sat behind my belly button. They were hoping to do keyhole surgery, because they didn't believe that it was serious, as I was making out to be. Ended up having to be a full-on surgery, and I now have a 10-centimeter scar across my belly. I'm not going to say anything more on that. But the recovery after my hernia for me was, I was not prepared for how much it was going to hurt, how long it was going to take to recover. I've had 2 C-sections, and I would have gladly had 50 more instead of that one hernia operation. Obviously, they're cutting into different muscles, and really, even taking a deep breath was using the muscles that they had cut into to remove my hernia. So it was just long and rough. While I was recovering from my hernia, which honest to God took probably 2 months to fully recover, while that was happening, unfortunately, because we didn't know that I had a condition, The abscess under my arm, we just thought it was a boil or a pimple or an ingrown hair that turned into an abscess, because I never told anyone medically that I actually get these bumps quite often, because when I was 12, I developed PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I gained a lot of weight within a couple of months. And my first experience of fat bias with a doctor, I was 12. He told my mum there was nothing wrong with me and she was a bad parent for overfeeding me. And I need to play more sports, was his diagnosis. So my polycystic ovarian syndrome went untreated for 10 years, undiagnosed for 10 years. And I was getting these bumps and I assumed it was because I was fat and dirty. I'm not going to cry about it, because when I think about poor little Nissa when she was just a child, believing those things about herself, like I didn't even tell my mum I was getting them. No one knew I was getting these bumps. My husband knows because he's seen my body, but you know, growing up, I didn't even tell my mum. I first started getting them when I was 12 or 11 and I'm 33 and I only just got it diagnosed. I only just told someone about them. And it's all because of the constant mistreatment I've received as a bigger human being when I go to doctors or hospitals or... Anyway, it's a much bigger issue. I'm going to rein it in because I can hear it in my voice that I'm starting to get a little bit emotional, because it's not right and it's not fair, but it is what it is. So they operated on it to begin with. It healed beautifully. And then another one popped up and it just destroyed my underarm. It ripped open the healed area. It got more infected than before because a staph infection got in there. And so I ended up back in hospital again. And that was where I was diagnosed with a condition. Its simple term is acne inversa. So basically I develop acne on the inside that pushes outward. Its technical name, I'm going to butcher it. I'll put it up on the screen here. Hydradentitis suppurativa. I've totally butchered that. But like I said, I'll put it up here. And I have a lot of scarring on my body. I mostly get the bumps under my arms. I do have a couple on my sides. Apparently it's quite common to get it in the groin area. I don't get them there, knock on wood, but my underarms, I get them a lot. They've never gotten so severe that I've had to get medical treatment for them before. As I said, it was only this year that I actually told someone other than my husband that I have these. And the pain was unreal. So when I first went to hospital, when my hernia and the abscess under my arm was really bad, they gave me endone for my hernia and that took the pain right away. But my arm, I was actually screaming in the emergency room and I was silent during labor. But the pain in my arm was so bad, they had to give me fentanyl, because apparently some pain reliefs can knock some pains on the head, but they don't even touch the surface of other ones. And I had 2 areas causing me immense pain. And, yeah, so I've now been diagnosed with that condition. And since the first one was removed, it was like it caused... It's like it threw gasoline on a fire. And within, you know, the last 4 months after having my first one removed, I've had 5 flare-ups. And it's just been ongoing. I was getting, you know, it treated at the wound clinic for months. And it was so mentally draining. And I was in so much pain and I was constantly having things done to me and things were going wrong. And none of it was related, because in between my hernia and the inversa acne, you know, in my house, we had influenza A, we had rhinovirus, we had gastro, my asthma was triggered, which caused a trip to the hospital. And from all of that, I have developed the most intense and exhausting health anxiety. Any little twinge, I am having the biggest anxiety. So I am trying to be really proactive, and I've gone to my doctor and we're doing a full health workup. I am having tests that aren't even necessary probably, but I'm paying for them because I need to check. And that's where I'm at. That was the real big catalyst for what happened over these last 4 months, was my health just out of nowhere nosedived. It's good because the hernia is gone. It's good because I have a name and an explanation for this condition that I've had since I was a child. I am booked in to see a dermatologist who specializes in this condition, so hopefully we can get on top of it and I don't suffer with it anymore. Like, you know, it's two sides of a coin, but mentally it's taken a huge toll on me. And and I know this sounds like I'm having such a little whine. I should put like violin music over the top of this whole video. But while all of that health stuff was happening, I was also doing university and I was determined to get through it. And I did, thankfully. And I am really proud of myself that I managed to get a really good overall grade for my class, because I genuinely, it was so stressful because I couldn't sit up for weeks. Like, my husband was basically lifting me out of the bed and walking me to the toilet. Like, the pain, and I know everyone's pain level is different, and there's probably people who have had the hernia surgery and been like, I was fine 5 days later. I don't know why it took me so long to recover. Honest to God, it took me so long. But thankfully, I've just completed my first class of the foundations course at university, which is known as the bridging course. And I got a high distinction on my last assignment, which gave me an overall grade of distinction, a D, which is basically like a B. And right now, currently, my GPA is 6 out of 7. So I'm really happy with that. I'm trying not to be too cocky because I have 2 classes starting at the end of this month, which will wrap up the rest of the course. And one of them's a maths one. And apart from like the easy stuff, oh God, maths is not my strong suit. So we will see if I can maintain that grade point average, because I don't know if I think my maths class might drop it all the way down to a 2. But we'll see. During all of that, obviously our finances took a big hit. I didn't work for like 3 months. There's been some dramas happening at my husband's work. He works in production, in a big, it's not a factory, like a big production site. So I don't really want to give too much away. We like to have a little bit of privacy. But there's been a lot of drama there and a lot of questions around his work stability, and all of that. So our finances took a bit of a hit. These are technically not empty because I filmed a cash stuffing last night, but prior to that, they were completely empty except for this one here, which is the one that I'm putting $100 away a month for the year. So that one got to keep its money, but everything else got completely wiped out. And there's a couple of changes in the binders, but I'm actually going to do a separate video on the binders so that this one's not too long and I can put out a few videos as my welcome back. So yeah, we are literally starting from scratch. Now, the most exciting update I have for you guys, and it is wild. I'm publishing a children's book. I'm a legit author now. I have an ISBN, I believe it's called, which is like an ABN, but for authors, and all authors have it. It's part of the code that goes on the back of a book on the barcode. I'm publishing a children's book, and its pre-sale is on the 15th of July. I cannot deal. So here is a little illustration of the character in my book. It's called Ollie the Mountaineer, and it's in honor of my amazing eldest son, Oliver. Side note, yes, I am also publishing a book for my second son, James. I've spoken to my publisher about it. He loves the synopsis for the book, and we are already like storyboarding some illustration ideas, and the first one's not even officially out yet. So I am self-publishing this book, but I'm working with a publishing house. So I have funded the publication of this book, but the publishing house has held my hand and literally done everything for me and has guided me and has been incredible. So my goal is to sell 500 copies of my book within 6 months so that I can break even and afford to publish a second book for my second son. I'm not in it to make money. Obviously, it would be amazing if I could make a little bit of profit from these books because I don't work a lot, and the climate we're in, extra money is always nice, but that's not my goal. I just wanted to be a published author, and I wanted this book out for my son. I don't know if I've spoken about it before, but both of my boys are neurodivergent. My eldest son is on the autism spectrum. My youngest son is showing very obvious signs of ADHD. But he's young, so we're not in the diagnosis process with him. We're just in the early intervention stages with him. And it's not an autism children's book, but the message is going to resonate with a lot of, probably every single parent of a neurodivergent kid, because for the last 8 years, I have watched this magical little boy conquer some of the biggest mountains and obstacles, and sometimes I swear he does it in his sleep. He will, not be able to grasp a skill or something, and then he'll go to sleep, and the next day it's like he learnt it while he was dreaming, and he just wakes up and bam, he's doing it. And I've been in awe and just absolute amazement of my eldest son Oliver since the minute he was born. Like, he is made of pure magic, and that's what this book is about, a little boy who can climb mountains even in his sleep. And I really want it to be impactful on children and families and share a really positive message of every mountain is conquerable, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you to do it or how much help you need, you can do it. And I really hope that's what this story does. We are adding we're adding a page where we list some really safe and beneficial places, organizations and resources for families, because there is some really dangerous organizations out there that preach autism acceptance, but really they demonize it. They share I don't know, like Autism Speaks. Do not donate money to Autism Speaks. Do not listen to anything they say. Do not look at them at all. There are so many other places and resources out there for you. We've added a page in the book where I've listed some. With the preset, sorry, I'm tripping over my words. I should have more notes, but I've just spoken about so much. With the pre-sale, it's going live on the 15th of July, and the official launch will be the 29th of July. So there will be 2 weeks of pre-sale. During that time, any book sold during pre-sale is automatically signed by me, the author. Some may get a lucky second signature, which will be from Ollie. I've actually hired him, so he will be earning $1.50 for every book that he signs. Husband just walked in. I'm filming a video. I'm getting back onto YouTube. Okay. I'll be out there in a minute. Thank you. He brought me some lunch. So yes, Ollie will be earning $1.50 for every book he signs, because he's saving up for a Millennial Falcon Lego set, which I think is like $1,000. So he's going to have to sign a lot of books. So some books may get a little cheeky extra signature from Ollie. And I'm also looking for a charity that I'm thinking I'm going to pledge like $1 from every book sale and donate that to the charity at the end of pre-sale. And yeah, please follow my Instagram account. So I'm going to say this over my next few videos. If you're following this account, please delete, block, and report, because it got stolen from me and Instagram sucks. There's literally nothing you can do. They're still using my photos. They're still adding people. They're still getting people follow them. I have no idea if they're messaging people. So if you're following this one, please report, block, and delete. Please follow this one. I'm doing this like I'll try and put the picture here. Please follow this one. This is my new one. This is the one I'm using for any kind of professional stuff I do, whether it's my author work, my Nissa Ray budget stuff, just it's a separate account for all things that you get what I'm saying. When it comes for pre-sale, links will be shared on this Instagram account, so please make sure you follow it. It would mean a lot if you just shared information about my book, if you just gave my Instagram a follow, if you purchased the book. I can't even put into words how much that would mean to me. And yeah, what a crazy freaking 4 months it's been, but I'm back, knock on wood. And I'm just really excited to reclaim the rest of 2024, I guess. So thanks for listening, guys. The next video will be an update on all of this and anything budget wise, and then the video after this one will be my first cash stuffing again in 4 months. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.